Is it going? Are we good?
Greetings, everybody, to the most beautiful, delectable, the most savory of podcasts you can possibly imagine. But the taste is not for food, it is the craving for video game news. I am Tyler Vedito, and I am going to be the host today for Casual Master Quest Episode 2, the only podcast that can steal another podcast's trademark motto and get away with it.
Ooh.
Tonight, as usual, and hopefully for all of eternity, I have over in the corner, I have Cam and Nick. How's everybody doing?
Pretty good. I can't leave.
Yes, I do have you chained to the desk, in fact, both verbally and physically. It was part of the contract. You signed in blood. I was like, I warned you the moment you handed the quill. It's like, hey, I know the ink is red. Don't worry about it. It's okay. But you realize once you wrote it down, it's like...
I had my heart set on it, so, not too much I could do. Wasn't thinking at the time.
Nick, look alive, brother. How's it going on your end?
Surviving.
It's
been
you survived another year, in fact, didn't you?
Signed a death contract to this guy right here, and just got to make the best of a poopy situation.
Yep. Yeah, a lot of death contracts going around.
The worst thing he could have possibly done is sold off his maybe whatever the equivalent of a podcasting soul is, so he could podcast with us on his birthday. Happy birthday, Nick.
Happy birthday, Nick.
I thought I said my birthday's next week.
Happy birthday, Nick.
Tonight's just a party because it's a long weekend.
Happy birthday, Nick. It's your birthday.
Thank you.
Now it's your birthday tonight.
It's your birthday now. As I shake that chair, it's your birthday now. How old are you going to be next week, man?
23 on the 23rd.
Woo! I remember when I was 23. Man, what was I doing when I was 23?
Me
Nothing
too.
good.
I remember that too. That's right now.
Oh, jeez, man. It's making me feel like an old duffer. My morale just went down, or my psych. Now
you're the one getting married soon, so it's,
Yeah, I know.
Put that on us.
I'm the old goat. I went from Punished Snake over to Old Snake. I'm jumping completely different people. For those watching the video, I'm actually wearing an eye patch right now. I don't know why. I think after what happened with me in PSVG, I decided, I was like Punished Snake. My outer haven got blown up.
Yep.
So, I should have a horn or, shrapnel sticking on my head, but, I haven't killed anybody, so it shrank a little bit. So,
yeah, I
it
think
worked out.
Every once in a while, people should get punished. You know what I mean? Just become the punished versions of themselves. It's very important. So,
I mean, I feel humiliated, and the humility is strong within me. And for that, I believe in divinity. I will become a better person. So here I am. And you two, as my little jail guards, I'm going to say jailbirds, but I'm not sure what that would insinuate.
What that would entail, but
that would say all sorts of interesting things. Man. But as usual, we had our fun little rambling session, usually me going on my long-winded rants. Let's talk about video games.
I know what those are.
Oh my gosh, do you really?
Yeah.
I spend too much time doing
that. My gosh, I was going to pull out a dictionary. Oh man. Cam, tell me about the video games. What are those things?
All right, so it's this really crazy thing. Get this, TVs, right? So you got your televisions.
That's my initials.
Right. You got your TVs.
My Tyler.
Imagine if it was like a game put on your TV.
Right.
Oh.
So something happens, but you control it. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Now, every Saturday morning, I tell myself I want to interact with the TV by watching Dora the Explorer, and everything I do, I always win every single time.
Yeah.
Are you going to tell me there's something like that, but even better?
Yeah, and you can lose too. Most of the time.
Oh my gosh, I never want to lose this Dora the Explorer. That sneaky fox always tries to swipe my swipies.
He's a tough one. He's a
swiper. No swiping.
Oh man.
But anyway, yeah. So what do we want to talk about video games wise? We going right into the news, or what's on the plate here?
Man, what you been playing, dude?
All right, geez. So I actually just started work.
Pressure's on you.
Yeah, not too much, but I've been, grinding away at Pokemon Go. Played a lot of Steep, actually. So I'm this thing where I like to get one sports game and one car racing game a generation, pretty much. Right. So I've been looking at Forza Horizon for that, but I picked up Steep, which is Ubisoft's big, winter sports game.
Right.
So I've just been hammering away at that. It's mostly for fun or anything. I didn't know that it was always online. So it's an always online game, which is unfortunate because those have a lifespan.
I did not know that.
Yeah, and they do have a lifespan. They can't keep the servers up forever, so the game basically becomes useless once the servers go down, which is unfortunate. But
I mean, are they down right now? Or are you just saying that potentially in the future that's going to be a devastating blow?
It's mostly in the future. It's just like in the sort of collector's sense where you have to look
Right.
forward and say, is this going to be worth anything? Will we get to play this in the future?
The
And then
whole
things like that.
Halo, it was either 2 or 3 where people were playing up until the last minute where they shut down the server
Right,
and they
there was,
just
there was a full like squad, and there was 2 guys left, and they dragged it out for 2 weeks, I think.
Yes.
yeah, they would not shoot each other. They started living.
They set up rules. They set up a society.
No, but I get what you mean, Cam. I bought my PS2 back with me from all
Yeah.
the way from home, and I still have to find a transformer to get the voltages right to get it running.
Yeah.
I have Burnout 3. What is it? Takedown? Revenger?
I can't tell you.
Revenger. Burnout.
The Revenger.
I can't remember. I just know it's the third Burnout, and I have
Metal
Jack and
Burnout Revengeance.
Yeah.
If anybody's ever played any of the Jack and Daxter
Yeah.
games, I have Jack
Mhm.
X, Combat Racing, and those are 2 of my favorite racing games growing up. Obviously, that and Need for Speed, whichever one it was, I think Most Wanted 2. But yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
that Jack Racing game was actually really fun.
Oh, and Crash Team Racing. I got Crash Team
Crash
Racing back with
Racing,
me.
yes, for the PlayStation. That was my
Yeah.
first and favorite racing game.
Hey,
Cam,
speaking-
judging by your response, you're like, what the hell are they talking about?
No, not at all. I know all this stuff.
Okay, you were saying though. You were saying.
Yeah, I was gonna say though. Actually, speaking of racing games, have you guys heard the rumor regarding Star Fox?
Yes, that potentially they're going to be doing a Star Fox racing game.
Oh man, they're saying a lot of the rumors said in the vein of Diddy Kong Racing. So it's I get the feeling at this point Nintendo's just had a new idea where they're like, okay, dead IPs, right? IPs that aren't doing too well. Let's racing game. It'll do it. It's the best. Let's go. And so you might see an F-Zero. You might see an F-Zero crossover. Who knows? We'll see. But yeah, some rumors coming out from there. But yeah, chugging along. Steep is interesting in that it kind of has no loading screens. It's kind of drop in, drop out multiplayer. So you'll see people on the mountain just kind of show up. I think one really cool thing is no matter where you are on the mountains in the game, whether you're snowboarding, skiing, wing gliding, whatever, you can just hit a button and basically back out to the start of the trail, or hit a button and back out to the different area of the map.
No kidding, that
just
easy?
right away. Yeah.
Oh,
And it's
that's
really
cool.
nice because if you get tired of a run halfway through and you're really not feeling it, you can just be like, nah, and back out.
Nope. Peace out. Just start
Yep.
over.
Yep. So I've been
That's
working on
cool.
that.
You've been playing Pokemon Go.
Yeah, I never stopped playing Pokemon Go. I play it every day. So just grinding away.
It's a
at
shame to
that.
talk about it. That's it.
Yeah.
So
unfortunate.
did you do the community event that happened today?
Fortunately, it was raining out over here, so I didn't get a chance to too much, and I was busy doing some other stuff, grabbing the camera you can see here, so you can see my beautiful
Yeah.
face and such.
Oh my.
But, what's it called? Yeah.
Ring's starting to tingle.
Ding. So
know.
I didn't have too much time to go out, but yeah, usually I get on that sort of thing. I am happy in that at least I have all the legendaries up to this point in the game, so I'm not. I'm not.
That's
gonna
still
miss anything
impressive.
there.
That's very impressive.
Yep.
I just saw that Ho-Oh also is coming out alongside with the trade of Latios, a week ago.
Yeah.
So good shot. It was fun. You've also been playing Heart Gold Randomized. Now, were you talking like an actual 3DS game, or are you talking a mod? What's going on here?
So basically, what you can do is there's a lot of randomizers out there for Pokemon games where you'll basically throw them through a program and they'll change up where wild Pokemon are, where trainers are, what trainers Pokemon have, or what Pokemon trainers have, and that sort of thing. You can change gym leaders, names, everything pretty much, items on the ground. So when you're playing a randomized run, you're basically doing that. So right now I'm doing a Nuzlocke of Heart Gold randomized, and I'm just finishing that up actually.
Ooh, no. Do you start off with the same Pokemon technically, or no?
No, you don't have to. So you can randomize starters as well. I believe I started off with a Spiel actually in this run. So yeah.
Wait, a Spiel which was for Sapphire and Ruby
Yep. Gen
on
3.
Heart Gold. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever.
I mean, it's a Gen 4 game. They're all in the data, so hey.
That is also very true. It's just having a Gen 4 Pokemon as a Gen 3 starter, or Gen 2 even. Sorry, a Gen 3 for a Gen 2 starter. Okay,
Yep.
sure. I mean, I was always down with the idea of playing a Link to the Past randomizer, but what's Pokemon? That's a whole different level.
And actually,
man.
everybody should definitely stay tuned because I'm going to be starting one on stream on Monday night, a new Pokemon randomizer. So we'll all do that
Nice.
one together. So
Okay, we'll
Yeah.
talk more about the stream that you can do that later at the end of the podcast, man.
cool.
Finally, you've been touching a little bit of Punch-Out. Now, which Punch-Out are we talking about here?
That was this morning actually. So this is the original Punch-Out for NES, not the Mike Tyson version. And
Nice.
what I do is for my other stream, I kind of do I play for the first time big prolific games I've never touched ever. So we're going through NES right now. I jumped on Punch-Out for the first time this morning. Looks like you're loving that. Sorry about that. But
No, it's okay. For those listening, I'm drinking a lukewarm Milwaukee's Best Ice to celebrate the weekend. And
oh, nice.
Yep. I punished Tyler Vitito. You know, I got to take everything with humility, including the room temperature alcohol. But enough of that, please. You're saying.
Oh yeah. So Punch-Out's difficult. You know, you see me here with the Punch-Out. It's very difficult. You know, we made it through the minor league, we made it through the major league. We're in the World League now, fighting Soda Popinski, which everything's a big stereotype. I was actually amazed. They had what's called Piston Honda, I believe was the Japanese rep. And when you beat him, and this is the crazy thing, translation wise, when you beat him, he just says Sushi, Yokohama, Mitsubishi, Toyota, something. That's what he says.
That's
right.
That's wow.
And I'm looking now like, okay, what did he say in Japanese? Like, whose choice was that in the American version? I need to know. So I got to go look that up. Yeah, no, it's very difficult. It's basically a hidden puzzle game. It's like hidden behind a puzzle game. You have to figure out tells of the enemy and stuff like that, and time your presses right and such.
Right.
But yeah, I have a difficult time with that. I got absolute garbage reaction time, so I'm just doing my best.
It really stinks because you're playing on the original Nintendo. Are you playing it on a tube TV, or are we talking HD?
No, I'm talking. I do it for stream, so it's on my totally legitimate NES for computers. Yeah.
Of course. I guess my point was, and I'm sure you know this, about the potential latency that you have to deal with.
I think I am too.
It just messes with you terribly when it comes to that game. Oh man.
Yeah, and I have a bad actually version of it too. It's crashing every once in a while. I didn't have it. I had to grab it up this morning.
But it has the Nintendo seal of approval when you bought it from the store many years ago.
But yeah, so just working through that. So that's pretty much all I've been doing this week.
All right. Nick,
what's up?
Nick, baby, how's it going?
Going okay. A little bit hungry, but
a little bit hungry.
Yeah.
Are you hungry to talk about some of the games you've been playing?
Hey.
Well, game that needs no explanation: Fortnite and Pokemon Go. Just whenever I've been out.
Oh, we can talk about Pokemon Go. What have you been playing?
I really don't know what I'm doing. Pokemon Go is one of the only Pokemon Go games that I don't really know what I'm doing. Like, I had to do some bank work around my campus this week, so I just walk around. I have my Apple Watch, so I'd open up the app on my watch, and it'll just calculate my steps without having to actually hold the phone in my hand. Catch a few things, getting my seals done for whatever reason. I don't really know why I'm doing it. Getting field research done for whatever reason. So I'm just working through it slowly. Then Fortnite, my friends who I usually play with, they're all traveling and they finally came back today. So I woke up, as soon as I woke up, they're like, oh, we're on. I'm like, well, I'm on too. So that was the first thing I did today. I haven't really played much of D2 this week just because it's been busy and I need a lot of time for that game right now.
Oh yeah.
And just ending off like the days with a game called RimWorld.
RimWorld. I've never heard about this game. What is it?
I really like RimWorld. It's one of those games that I have to be careful of. It's one of those games that drags you in. It just sucks you in and holds you in for hours. And so you really have to be careful playing it. It's a top-down colony management game. I guess that's the way you describe it. It's like set in a...
What platform? Phone or?
PC only, I think.
Okay.
It's fun. That's really all I can say about it right now.
You say it's a top-down management. Is it like of a city or a house?
Have you ever played Prison Architect?
Yes. Oh yeah.
So looks pretty much like Prison Architect, and then it starts off. You have different beginnings, but the most common one is you start off as 3 space explorers, and you crash land on a planet that has no civilization, maybe a past civilization, but you build up, get more colonists, and then eventually the goal is to escape the planet.
Oh, fair enough. There's quite a few games like that. Is it multiplayer, like online multiplayer? Or?
I don't know if they have plans for it, but it's not currently multiplayer.
Okay. Yeah. And about how much time do you think you've put into it so far?
So I have it open right now. 102 hours.
Hey. Whoa! That's the way to do it.
So it is one of those games.
One of those, yeah. You were not kidding when you said, it might. You're out here freaking.
You're past the might part. You're in the sucked in.
You're hanging onto a rope tied to a tree. That's how much you got sucked into the quicksand.
And I'll tell you when I bought it too. I bought it this past December.
Oh, I was waiting for you to say this past week. I'm like, wow.
No, that was Stardew Valley when I had like a week off.
Oh man,
just sunk 60 hours into it in the week I bought it.
Oh man, I can't even blame you either. Like just that just when we're day fever, just playing Stardew Valley is like, I did this. This is gonna happen in 3 days. There's so much. I need to fix my fence. I need to fix my fence. And all of a sudden, it's like 3 hours later. But
one more season. I can squeeze up one more season tonight.
Oh man, summer's coming up soon. There's so much stuff going on for summer. Plus, I haven't gone to the mines yet. I need to go to the mines today. I can do it tomorrow. Yes. Okay. Sorry, I'm rambling on about. It's funny because I say all this stuff. I've never played Stardew Valley. However, I've watched my fiance play Stardew Valley. I would not doubt that she has at least 100 hours into that game, if not more. Oh, my fiance just laughed at me in the background, so I'm assuming about 200. Yeah. Oh, now she stomped her foot. Now she's indignant.
You're still underestimating, I'm pretty sure. So
either that or you're getting in trouble.
Yeah, that's true. Well, we will see. I decided to play the Detroit Become Human demo. Have you guys messed with that before?
Yes, I have.
No, I can't because I don't have a PS4.
Ooh. Oh, yeah, that's also true. As my fiance is sneaking me. Okay, anyways, yeah, she has the mohawk. Hello. Detroit Become Human. Oh man, you said you played it over at PAX, didn't you, Cam?
Yeah, so they had the 2 E3 presentations, and then of this specific demo, and then I played it at PAX East as well this year. So,
now what did you think about it when you played it?
Well, I'm not coming into it fresh. As I kind of mentioned last week, I'm coming from the perspective of knowing like David Cage games and Quantic Dream games.
True. We did talk about this last week.
Yeah. So I will see. There's always that bit of bias that comes in, like where I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh, this is going to be a silly game. Like it's going to be this. We're not going to avoid the fact there's going to be something supernatural that happens at some point. That's just going to, it's a fact of the world. But, I really like the demo. I really do like the demo this is the rooftop demo where you have to deal with a hostage situation, basically. And in terms of games, these are probably some of the most movie games when people talk about, movie games with little gameplay, because all Quantic Dream does in their games is make an interactive experience where you're choosing what to investigate, you're choosing, what dialogue options to pick and that sort of thing. And there's a lot of QTEs, there's a lot of button prompts, and some of them can be a little esoteric sometimes in some of the older games.
Especially in this one, it was throwing me off with the directional pad and all that. And I also realized that we've pretty much had this conversation already. The only difference is my third eye has opened because I played the demo myself. I'm actually really sold into it. It freaks me out because my usual cynical self is like, it's okay. I mean, it's good interaction. It's a Quantic Dream style game. And, the idea and the premise seems pretty cool. But at the same time, it's like, wow, I get to play as an android and I get to do cool investigation work. But then there's this guy who's also an android killer. And, some other person I haven't actually heard anything about yet, thanks to the trailer. Not mention anything, except for they all say they have the same name, which I don't know yet. I don't know the reason behind that. Do you?
There's a lot of spooky Android mysteries, but I think one thing that I definitely want to talk about regarding Detroit Become Human. So a good example of what you can expect from the game, I think, is there's going to be a lot of almost like on the nose things that play themselves off as subtle is the best way to put it. Okay. So for example, they insist that Detroit Become Human is not a slavery allegory. They insist it. They insist it's not at all about, there's no slavery connotations with the androids and the humans.
Of course not. No, definitely not. Why would they ever say anything like that? That's silly.
Why would you ever want to make a political statement with the video game?
No, but then in the game, they straight have them singing like slavery songs, and they're claiming, and they're 100% claiming like, no slavery influence at all. What are you talking about? And that's just you'll see a lot of that in this sort of game where they'll hit you with something that's really, really on the nose and try and play it off like it's some sort of subtlety that only a genius would understand. But in terms of Detroit Become Human as a whole, it's definitely going to be a fun experience. I am looking forward to it. Probably going to pick that up right away and play that with my buds and stuff. But I do expect it to jump the shark entirely. And
yeah, definitely. honestly, it's one of those games where like I look at them like this is going to be a 10 game, but then when I play it, it's like this is a 7.5 game, but I thought it was a 10 game, so I'm highly disappointed. It's like it's going to be a good game, but it's not going to be the best game. No offense.
I was just gonna say they hide a lot of the problems with the game behind good visuals and very influential actors usually. So they kind of hide that. They mask it up a little bit.
Oh man, like we talked about this before. We don't have to go too far into it. I too, as a shocking surprise between the three of us, have played Pokemon Go. I know, right? Well, played Pokemon Go. I bought myself a Pokemon Go Plus bracelet, and I finally returned the one that I was stealing from my fiance. So we both have bracelets now. We are the elite. Welcome, you casuals. Jeez, I know, right?
I mean, I got one.
I wanted to buy one even when I was not playing, just for the fact that it was a Pokeball on your wrist.
Yeah, it looks kind of cool if you think about it. But, that's a $35 bracelet. Oh,
yeah.
Geez.
And, honestly, I don't end up using it at all practically because it gets to the point where, especially when you're playing Pokemon Go a lot and you have your spins down and your curveballs down, it'll just throw a normal Pokeball straight, basically, when you hit the Gold Plus to catch Pokemon. Right. Whereas, my spin is much better than that. And most people spin once they practice for a while, it's much better. So it starts to become just like, especially if you're in an area with not a lot of stops, it becomes a waste of balls to use. So I kind of stay away from it these days, but...
A human being better than technology. Blasphemous.
I mean, I've stated why I used it before for the most part. I'm a truck driver, and I'll use it. I guess another reason I have considered when I'm going out for a Poke run, as I stated with my fiance, I'm usually the one driving. And obviously I can't catch Pokemon while I'm driving. Yeah. And so the hour that I'm playing, I'm just sitting there with my thumb, pressed against the wheel. It's the same thing as the truck driving thing, but I really do spend a lot of time playing Pokemon Go without actually even looking at the screen. And it kind of stinks because I'll push a button for 45 minutes and then I'll spend 15 minutes like, whoa, I caught that. Shiny. Oh yeah.
Yeah, because it'd be horrible. Nobody would ever catch Pokemon while driving. That would be a big problem.
I got really ticked off. We saw the same guy over and over, nearly hitting us. He's looking around like, oh, I'm sorry, I almost hit you. And then like, oh, that's another Charmander. It was just frustrating. It's like, come on. I understand that, because I was like, what the heck? He's got fast food all over his car. And Amanda was like, actually, no, he's using cardboard to hold his window up. He probably can't afford a bracelet right now, Tyler. And I'm like, whatever, details.
I mean, which is fine, but then at least he could play responsibly, right?
Yeah, you could, if it came down to it, he could walk. I mean, it's a terrible thing to say. I know, right? The walking is for the lower class, a Segway class, The
Segway class.
I guess my big game that I've been playing, I shouted out there on Twitter, and I got lightly and very friendly blasted by Kevin Austin at PSVG. I really haven't played that many JRPGs. In fact, I could count the number that I've played in the past since I got out of high school on my hand, one hand. And it's kind of upsetting that I used to love JRPGs. Now, granted, JRPGs typically are between 40 and 100 hours. So, high school time versus, I have a real life now time. It's really different, but it felt like every time I played a JRPG, I would try it for a couple hours, but then I'd find a reason to just say, oh, this is terrible. Refer to Earthbound. But I guess technically Nier Automata. No, Nier Automata is an action adventure style game.
It is JRPG by definition, but it's more action. So
yeah, true. But different reasons and all that. So I went to the web, talked with some people, and it boiled down to what you suggested, Cam. I believe. What was the company called, or the game series?
Oh, did other people tell you that? I'm so happy. If so,
Falcom.
Yeah. So Nihon Falcom is one of my favorite developers of all time. And, they're a mid-level Japanese company. They've been supporting the Vita like crazy. They've supported all of Sony's consoles, and I respect them a ton because what they've done ever since the '80s, and I should say they were some of the forerunners for the
Vita in the '80s. That's impressive.
I was going to say for the world of video gaming. What's it called? If I remember correctly, a Falcom game was the first to have an orchestral track in it of any video game.
Wow.
And yeah, back in the 80s, I think with Dragon Slayer, I believe. But yeah, these days they just, they make these extremely expansive stories. Like we're talking spanning 7 or 8 games, like the Legend of Heroes series. It has the 3 games in Trails of the Sky. It has the 3 games in Trails of Cold Steel. It has 2 games that aren't localized, and they're all part of one story. And they just chug along, regardless of trends, regardless of the mass appeal. And they just chug along, make these games for the people who love them. And I respect the hell out.
Like a giant book novel given in video game form. And if you love the first book, it's like you have this whole expansion of, information and games you could play.
Mm-hmm. I was just looking at the release history. They keep churning these games out.
Yeah, no, especially with the Trail series. There's so many games in the Trail series, but even the last 7 or so have been connected. And at some point, they'll just sit you down. They'll be like, all right, sit here, learn about the history of all these countries and the economics and how the railway works and the culture, because you need to know this. It's very important. So it's the type of game that'll set that sort of amazing world building for you. And that's just the Legend of Heroes series. They also make the Ys series, just spelled YS, which has also been going for a long time, since the 80s, I believe, as well, which is some of the progenitors of the action RPG. So they churn those out. You've seen Ys 8, I believe it was, on PS4, just 2016, I believe, or 2017. I forget.
The first Ys game was released on June 21st, 1987.
Okay, cool. Yep, but
4 years before I was born.
Yep, but I gotta shill Falcom at all opportunities. Nihon Falcom Corporation, they're the best. I've never seen them make a bad game, in my opinion. Nothing they've made has been bad.
That's okay. Well, unfortunately, I did not pick a Falcom game, much to my now chagrin, but I will strongly have that considered, because honestly, you gave me a hot pitch. If there's one thing I'm good at, is investing myself solidly into a game series for months at a time, usually to my detriment, because as a podcaster, talking about the same thing over and over Fortnite gets kind of stale. But because I had to get banned being able to talk about RuneScape for the longest time.
Yeah, no, that's why, especially when we're doing podcasting, that sort of thing, it's important to, I think, to get different games in every week to try and get that spread, and especially with new releases and stuff. But when it comes to the Legend of Heroes series and that sort of thing, you need to know you're strapping in for like 600 hours. Like each game's 50 hours practically, and there's like 7 of them. So,
oh man,
do the math. So it's a little less, but yeah.
But it boiled down to between Final Fantasy 15 and Persona 5.
Yep.
Now, I know 15 is a good game. I know Persona 5 is a good game. They have different quirks and benefits to, different things. I honestly could tell you that between the two of them, I like the Final Fantasy 15 style a little bit better. However, I've also watched about 5 or so hours of my best friend playing this game. I would say at least an hour and a half to 2 hours of that was him driving in his car.
Yeah.
And it was like, I get to spend like an hour and a half, 2 hours a day. Am I going to spend a half hour of each day if I'm going to a different location to drive in this freaking fantasy car? Is that a legit thing, Cam? Or
so here's the problem with Final Fantasy 15 is like, I'm not sure. I've seen the driving. I think when I've experienced the early demo and when I went ahead and I played it a bit with a friend for, I think, 5 or 6 hours. But when I did all that, it was a bit of a trek. I mean, it wasn't 30 minutes, I would say, but it definitely was like a few minutes. But I actually have not finished or played most of Final Fantasy 15, which is usually like, that would be right in my wheelhouse. The problem is because they keep on supporting the game and releasing new content. So the game is never finished. And so I'm trying to wait for everything, but it's now been like 2 years of them just putting out new stuff. And I'm trying to wait for it all
to be done. VR headset so you can play Final Fantasy 15 fishing. The deep, like it was like the Monster Beneath or some crap like that.
I mean, we like that it's getting supported and getting all this new story content. Cool.
Absolutely.
But it also sucks because we want to play it. And
it's like you want to play it, you want to beat it, you want to be done with it. But
exactly.
If you're not going to get the complete experience, then what's the point?
I'm just waiting. I'm just sitting on, I'm sitting on the clock at this point with it. But
it's like the opposite of like Destiny 2's problem, where there's a lack of content, and then here there's too much content.
Too much.
It's like, let it stop. Give us a couple of years or something. Then you can, Skyrim it. Just port it later. Let us enjoy what we have here.
10 years of Final Fantasy 15.
Oh gosh, don't say that. That's possible, man. That's actually really scarily possible.
Yeah.
Persona 5 was a bit of a mystery number to me. Like it was an invariable. I've never seen it played before. I've gotten I played a little bit of Persona 4, I think, on a PS2 emulator, I believe, but it wasn't really like, this is cool, but I don't got time for this, and it kind of died out. But Persona 5, like, I looked up and people praise it to the high heavens, but nobody I've talked to, save for one podcaster that I haven't talked to in months, said this is a fantastic game. It's just incredibly long, and it's like, screw it. People give me crap for saying that I am very spiteful of JRPGs. Persona 5 is a great game, as said by others. I'm going to give this a shot and prove that I can enjoy a JRPG. And so I put in 5 hours into this game, and I can safely tell you, I do not think I've left the tutorial yet.
Yeah, you probably haven't, if I'm remembering right. Yeah.
How much of Persona 5 have you played before?
Oh, I beat it.
Okay, 100%. Right now, obviously the no spoiler thing, even though it's been out since forever. I'm currently initiating the first official siege of Kamoshida's castle.
Okay.
So, I'm technically finding, I'm trying to find his treasure, essentially.
Yeah.
And so 5 hours in, they're still teaching me new stuff like fusion. And it's like, are you serious? There's still more stuff that you can, give me another 15, 20-minute tutorial on. It's like, I can't remember half the crap that's going on so far. Ambush. Knockdown if I'm lucky, and that's pretty much it. I can negotiate with them if I, knock them all down, but it's like, I don't remember how to find their weak spot. Is it trial and error? Sure. Social links. Okay, where's I can't see a social links. Where's my proficiency at? How do I rate? Okay, I gotta work in tools. Oh, I need stuff to get, to work in my tools. I need to get materials from the dungeons. But it's like,
systems on systems.
I got 14 days before I get expelled from this high school. And sometimes I ask myself as I'm going through this castle, why not?
Is it worth it?
Yeah, let's say. Why don't I just kill the guy?
Yeah, Persona as a series, and especially Persona 5 too, it's one of those games, like you said before, where when you're out, when you're working 40 hours a week, when you don't have that high school time that we talked about before, it becomes really difficult to play games like that, because they do command that kind of attention. They want that kind of focus, because Persona 5, depending on how fast you play through it and that sort of thing, most people are averaging out around 70 hours, and a lot of the Persona games are like that. So,
and it's fun. I'm not going to lie. I'm having fun with it. But it's like playing 4 different board games at once. And obviously I got the chessboard right in front of me, and that is going to be everything. If I play that and I get through with that, I'll win. However, the more I play this chess game and not touch any of these board games, suddenly the computer gets harder. If I start to neglect social links or, upgrading my personas, it's going to bite me right in the butt. And I know that. I know that just from foresight.
Yeah. I have some advice for you, Tyler.
Uninstall.
No, just get good.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I haven't lost yet, so I'm doing okay. I'm just like, I can see right now.
But you're complaining. Just get better. Just play better, Tyler.
I'm playing. I'm happy where I'm at. I'm just saying, in the future, I'm probably going to need to actually get good, because I feel like I'm going to do terrible. And then when I do get good, I'm going to run out of time and the moon crashes into Termina. That's the wrong game, but whatever.
Play that turn-based JRPG better.
Yes, micromanage your time. I'm going to ask you a very serious question. This is for personal reflection, asking for a friend and all that. Cam, is there a character that's kind of like Chie in Persona 5?
I see. A gentleman and a scholar, much like myself. I understand completely.
I'm sure you understand.
Not really, unfortunately. Yep.
This game's not worth it. Why?
My heart goes out, dude. My heart goes out. I understand completely. But the closest you're going to get, there is somebody, and she's not even really. No. I can't. No. Not really.
I'm not going to get my close childhood friend style that, likes to punch stuff and, get right into it.
Unfortunately, Persona 4 is really the only case of that. You don't have that in 3 and you don't have that in 5. So,
man, maybe I will have to get back into 4, but what's up?
I'm just going to say, and in the earlier ones, you have, they're different games. 3, 4, and 5 are in a pretty standard continuity, but 1 and 2 in terms of Persona are relatively separate. And while it is still the same universe, there's a lot of lore and spin-off stuff going on there. But yeah.
If there's one thing I want to say, kudos to Atlus, because I am amazed with some of the steps that they're willing to take. Like, they will tackle a lot of, things that you would never see in a different game, like potentially suicide or sexual abuse and whatnot. And I'm sure it gets worse and worse, but it's like I'm seeing these things happen, unfold in front of my eyes without actually haven't gotten wind of this. I'm like, wow, this game just, wow, it just did that.
Yep. That's why I'm drawn to the series. Honestly, that's what drew me to the series in the first place. Was it actually Persona 4 is the game that got me back into gaming. I was out for a little bit just playing like the Pokemon every once in a while, nothing really deep, but I picked up a Vita, I picked up Persona 4, I hadn't touched the series before, and back in 2013 I played through it, and I was just amazed and drawn to it because I liked the idea of unique stories, and Japanese companies especially, as well as indies, offer these sort of unique stories where they give you concepts, they give you ideas, they give you storylines that you don't see very often in games media, at least. Right. So it's really cool to get to pursue, an RPG where it's like, hey, we're talking about high school lives, we're talking about suicide, sexual assault, even in a rhythm game, actually, spin-off, Persona 4 Dancing All Night. We all thought it was going to be a complete just cash grab. We thought it was a rhythm game cash grab.
Yeah, everybody's happy, everybody's dancing.
Yeah, it's canon. There's a story in it, and it talks a little bit about the undersides of the idol industry. And it's like, that's the sort of game you're going to get in Persona. So, yeah, no, it's...
Wow, they do not hesitate to pull the trigger on a lot of this stuff, even in a game like that.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's why I love it.
You're getting me more excited to play this game. What am I doing here? See you suckers. No, I'm just kidding. Is there any other games that anybody wants to talk about before we start jumping into other good stuff?
There was a JRPG I saw that I wanted to pick up. I don't know how old it is. Tales of Berseria?
Yeah, Berseria.
Yeah, Berseria.
So what's the verdict? Is it...
it's an average. I'd say it's average to a slightly above average. The Tales series is very long running, and there's so many entries.
Oh yeah.
I think a lot of people cite either Vesperia as one of the best, or I know a lot of times I hear what's it called?
You better say.
Symphonia. Sorry.
Thank you very much. Good. You are. I will keep your fine rank, your fine taste as a scholar and gentleman. I will return it back to you. Yes, Tales of Symphonia for the GameCube. But Tales of Berseria, I've only heard it from secondhand tales. No pun intended. It's a mediocre to good game. Like, you'll enjoy yourself. Don't buy it full price, but if you buy it or if you have it, you'll have a good time with it.
Yeah, I'd say more so.
Like the style.
Especially too, if you haven't gotten into JRPGs too much and you're looking for a game to get you in, I wouldn't recommend Berseria.
What would you recommend then?
Well, you see here,
just one.
Boy, Persona 4 Golden for the best system available.
Honestly, I think the most accessible is Persona 5 for people right now. Honestly.
Okay.
Well,
he doesn't have a PS4. Jeez, why would you say that to him?
That's right. Just get good in the fact that get yourself a PS4. Your version of get better is get a PS4.
He can get Persona 4
do you want to?
No. No, you just gotta
be a Nigerian prince. Would you?
You just gotta be better and get a PS4.
That's cold.
It's the get good.
Yeah.
I mean,
fair enough.
Like, how far back do you want to go? Do you want to do like 16-bit days? Or do you want something 3D with voice acting?
I'm open to anything, to be honest. Like, I wouldn't mind trying something that's a good.
If you want something fun and easy, that's a JRPG. I would probably say something like Super Mario RPG, Legend of the Seven Stars for the Super Nintendo.
Yeah,
it's good. It's simple. It gives you the RPG fix you need. If you want something more serious and you want that that fantasy vibe, I would probably say Chrono Trigger. That's usually like an all-time easy answer though. So I'm not sure if that would be your dig or not. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Paper Mario, I guess.
Yeah, I was gonna say, actually, if you've never ever touched a JRPG in your life once, Paper Mario is, I think, a good intro because it's very light on RPG mechanics, but it gets you in there a little bit. Then from there you can move to the more modern Fire Emblems. You can move to Persona 5. Those are all JRPGs right now are doing very well. There's a lot of big, popular, accessible ones that have gotten mass appeal. So now's a good time to get into it, but you can get into it with a lot of games that everybody can talk about and games that aren't hidden away like gems in some corner anymore. So.
Well, we did get kind of deep there into the game talk, which I have no problem with. Absolutely. It was fantastic. However, we do have more of a podcast ahead of us.
We do.
Let us dig into the housekeeping of the section of the podcast where we get the brooms out and whatnot. We need to talk about messages. Yeah, I know, sweep. Nick, you got an announcement for us.
Yeah. So St. Jude's Children's Hospital, fantastic institution. They fly kids and their families from all over the world, house them for free, give them free food while they're treating whatever cancer their kid has, right? It takes about, I think it was 2 or 3 million a day to run St. Jude's. And so there's this charity event that started off as a Destiny fan convention. So the first year, that's all it was. It was just a fan meetup started up by two Destiny streamers and one other guy. His name is Kevin. He's on Mixer right now at KMagic 101. And then Professor Broman and King Italian on Twitch. So 2016 was when they partnered with St. Jude's to start raising money. Their first year, it was $500,000.
$500,000.
$500,000, a little bit over $500,000. Last year, 2017, it was $1.3 million. And then this year, it's gonna go. It's gonna be insane. We don't know what's gonna happen because they do a charity stream, a week-long charity stream, the week before the event. So that's gonna be later on in early July.
Okay, right? I was gonna ask you when it was, but early July is.
So the event is on the 13th of July. So from the whatever's the week, 6th of July to the 13th.
Okay.
And that's when they raise the bulk of their money. And they've had Ninja with them for a while. So it's going to be insane this year, especially because of all his newfound success.
Yep. Even I know that name now. So
he's on gas station pump ads now.
Yes, he is. He's everywhere.
Wait, are we joking?
No, we're not. He's on the gas station ads. Yeah, they have him up playing.
The gas stations have the TVs to play the crappy stuff while you're fueling. He's on them now. He's made it big.
High quality entertainment all over the place now. Yeah,
the finest.
So yeah, so you can, if anybody's interested, you can go to guardiancon.co. And top right corner, there's a little support tab, and then you can click on it and it'll take you to the Tiltify page where you can donate money. If you so choose to, because it's childhood cancer, and if you don't, you're kind of a jerk.
Yeah, I was gonna say, in terms of like the least evil things, curing kid cancer is that's like the top right there, right? In terms of the least evil things ever.
Yeah, that's like Paladin.
Yeah, that's like beyond Paladin at that point. So you won't go out in the street, you won't find somebody who's like, let those kids have cancer. So you want to get in there and you want to do those donations is what you want to do. So
and even Overwatch, they started a breast cancer awareness drive recently. They were selling a skin for one of their heroes, Mercy, for $15, and it's a pink skin and it's a beautiful skin, and it's $15, and all the funds go to BCFA, I think so, or BC. I can't remember what the exact organization was, but they've raised about $1 million so far or more.
Like
BCRF, Breast Cancer Research Foundation. Yeah.
Now, usually the more sinister, cynical side of me is like, they're just trying to do this to get good press and all that. It's still freaking awesome. They could do something like this,
which is fine. Like at the end of the day, even if you're doing it for selfish reasons, if the money is going to like a well vetted foundation and they're actually doing good at the end, they can do whatever they want for good press.
Yeah, who cares?
Like, if the press, it's fine.
Honestly, like, who cares? Yeah, you're right. You're exactly right. As you say. It's awesome that they can do something like this, even if people like me are like, they're just trying to do it to look good. Yeah, I bet they are, because they are good, doing something like this, and they deserve credit for trying to raise money for awareness.
And if anybody needed more convincing, St. Jude's doesn't hold any. They don't hold any of their research back. The research, whatever they find that actually helps people, they just put it out there for anybody to use.
Yep.
So I could get Spark Notes of anything if I wanted to from St. Jude's.
I'm not sure that's the exact format. It might be a downloadable PDF, but
Advanced Cancer Research for Dummies.
Yeah. So that was my big bit for this week.
Awesome.
Okay. Fair enough. Michael, a prince from Nigeria, asked, what game system did you guys grow up with?
Oh, question coming in.
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh, geez. Let's see. Primary to grow up with. For me, probably there's a lot, but Game Boy Advance stands out the most.
That was the big thing that you grew up with?
I played that, not even grow up in terms of like, I started, the first thing I had with NES and then skipped a little bit, PS2, Game Boy, all that stuff. But I played the Game Boy Advance the most, definitely.
Huh. That's actually a surprising answer. Usually you don't hear about a handheld, but that's fair.
I'm a handheld
in terms
guy.
of amount of time, it was between my PS2 and my Game Boy Advance. I started with the PS1. But yeah, the Game Boy Advance, mostly because of Emerald. Emerald was my thing until the cartridge died, and then all my saves got corrupted.
Oh yeah,
and that was a sad.
Sorry to hear that. We'll have a moment of silence for the corrupted save.
I can fix it.
Yeah, okay, fine. I can replace the battery.
Yeah. No, fun fact. Let me get this out here, actually. If you guys have any of your old Pokemon saves, this is something that you can do and 100% works.
Okay.
If you can keep your game on while you change out the internal battery, get a new one in there and save over it, you can keep your file on the new battery.
Fair enough. That's good to know.
I still have my blue save, Pokemon Blue, from when I was 4 years old because I switched out the battery in 2013. So,
like, you had a hunch it might die at this rate, so you decided to do that trick just to keep it going. That's cool.
They start dying usually like 10 to 15 years. The original one started dying, so a lot of them have been going down ever since. A lot of replacements being done. Now's the time, kind of. Yep. So you can save those. You just have to be very careful because if you touch anything really while you're in there, it's going to freeze the game and then your save file's gone pretty much. So.
Oh yeah, I have. There was a game cartridge. I don't remember what it was called, like Monster Rancher or something like that. Monster Rancher. And basically, what happened was if the cartridge shook even lightly, I think it jiggled the battery and it would just kill my save instantly. Just one strong shake. Oh wow,
I hear that too. I hear that too. We just had an explosion of sound, folks.
That's a mystery sound. Okay, I can hear it, so I know it's not me. Nick, are you?
He's having some trouble.
Okay, Nick, I just yourself for a hot second.
Yeah, we need to test that because I could hear it too.
Oh, is it still going?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, every once in a while.
Well, if you can't hear it, that's really concerning.
Okay. All right. Yep.
That make it better?
Yeah, it did go away then.
It is gone.
Any wires touching?
No, the only thing I did was put down a glass.
You know, if I were to take a guess, he is from British Columbia right now. Maybe since it's passing through the American borders, they've been hearing stuff, stuff we've been talking about.
That's true.
We did say some blacklist words. It went through to his side, and he said some blacklist words, and it came back, and they're like, "What is this guy?"
Yep. Everybody say hi to the CIA. Hi, CIA.
Hello.
Hi, CIA. Please don't ban me. I got to go gambling tonight. I still haven't sorted my Charmanders out, please.
True. Let me expand on that question a little bit because I want to say something regarding that. Nobody talks about, I feel, regarding the Game Boy Advance and why I like it a lot. Okay. So the Game Boy Advance for me, a lot of people dismiss it as a system, I feel. But for me, the Game Boy Advance, like the way I can sell it is, hey, the Super Nintendo, the thing that everybody loves? Yeah, those games and more. Because so many Super Nintendo, very big, prolific games were ported to the Game Boy, often lesser ports, fair, but when you're a kid, you don't care too much about that.
Yeah, who cares?
And then they had their own, spin-offs. They had a bunch of own exclusives of their own. So the Game Boy Advance library is crazy. Almost practically most series you can think of appear on that, especially Sega stuff, because at that point, the Dreamcast had been out and gone out the way of the Ghost.
The Vita, yes.
Yeah, Sega was bringing all their stuff over. So you had Sonic Game Boy Advance exclusives, you had Gunstar Heroes, things like that. So I'm a really big fan of the Game Boy Advance, and I think it deserves more credit.
That is a very true point. Like Game Boy Advance was the then emulator of other, dying or otherwise closed out systems.
Yep.
That is a huge viewpoint. I'd never considered that. But you're right. Link to the Past. Obviously, not Pokemon, but I'm thinking of Kirby now. You said Sega games and whatnot, but.
Yeah, Nightmare to Dreamland was on the Game Boy Advance. So
I love that game. You could link up and play with other people over the Game Boy Advance.
You got Golden Sun, you got 2 Fire Emblem games in the West, I believe only 2 in the West, but practically every series you can think of. Final Fantasy 1 and 2 are on a cartridge together. Final Fantasy 4 is on a cartridge. All the Super Mario World. You got Yoshi's Island. You got everything. Game Boy Advance has one of the best libraries.
Wow, 100%. People really discredit the Game Boy Advance. They never really talk about it. You're like, oh, this had most of the good stuff on it, ports and all that. But no, Game Boy Advance, it was like the ye olde version of the Switch. No offense.
I love my little Game Boy Advance. I played it to the point where the screen I couldn't really see anymore in daylight because of how scratched up the screen was.
Yeah.
And so I could only play in darkness. But then that wasn't feasible because there's no backlit screen. So it had to be like a weird mix of dark and light, but there couldn't be any light directly near me. And I lost the back cover for the batteries, and then it got to the point where the batteries wouldn't even fit in the slots anymore. So
jeez.
Just
that is a hard ghetto life right there, my friend.
Game Boy Advance is great. That's the plug there. So
I mean, between me and my friends back in we're talking like between 5 and 10 years of age, being first class and second class citizens between the group of us was whether or not we had the battery covered to the back of our Game Boy Colors.
Yeah.
Because if you didn't have it, you're like, wow, you're trash. I know it's terrible to say, but it was true. I'm not kidding.
Yeah. No.
I had very high pride that I still had my battery cover. I think they tried to steal it or something like that just to put on theirs since it was, interchangeable. But
kids are simultaneously the best and the worst things.
Yeah, no, they scheme. They scheme, don't they scheme?
Oh yeah.
But yeah.
Myself, it would be easily the Super Nintendo, but you have strongly encouraged me with the Game Boy Advance because, as you said, it's almost having like a little bit of the best of everything right in your hands.
Yep. But that's more on what I grew up with. What I, like the most now is, of course, a little bit different. Vita, but
yeah, as he looks around to his fine, beautiful collection and a large Neo Geo arcade set behind him.
Hey, yeah, you can't see because my head's in the way, but I do actually have more Vita games than I do.
Oh yeah, I can see him over there.
Hiding in the corner.
A little graveyard over there. Jeez.
Fabulous beauty.
That's all the questions we have in announcements for right now. We do have a couple of news pieces. Let's dig right into that before we accidentally burn up too much time here.
Yeah.
The first piece is probably the most important and kind of depressing. Cam, I know you are going to be the person to give the eulogy for this. Despite what you said earlier, go ahead and take it away, man.
So after many years of not supporting it whatsoever, Sony's finally announced that they are stopping production of all Vita cartridges. However, Japan is still going to be making theirs, so that's really all that matters. At first, this was very dismal, and this is still dismal for things like limited run games and things like that, where they're actually stopping the whole mechanism for producing them. So not only can you not request physical copies now, even indies are going to have trouble putting out new things on Vita now. But in Japan, at least, they're continuing production, and Japan's the only people besides indies who have been supporting the Vita. So we're okay there. And you know what? Vita's going to keep on going for years in Japan, just like the PSP did. There's going to be Otome games, what's it called? The visual novel games where there's a bunch of pretty boys and they're all chasing one girl. Those are super popular in Japan, especially in the PSP. They still make them. They still port them over. They still sell them in stores. So Vita's just going to do that for the foreseeable future over there.
You are a man of class, and I have nothing but full respect for you.
Yes, but it is pretty sad. It is pretty sad that,
just keep swimming. That's all they have.
I mean, I kind of wish the 3DS would die, and you think it would at this point, but it's still hugely successful, even if it's not doing anything.
Yeah, I've been advocating for the death of the 3DS since the Switch came out. I think it's ridiculous that they're honestly holding back so many franchises on this 240p handheld that came out in 2011 or 2010 even, I believe. But we have the Switch now, and it'd be so much better if they just focused all of their development efforts right on Switch. But, we still see 3DS sold 6 million last year still.
Yeah, from a gaming point of view,
thank you, Pokemon.
Things on the Switch, but from a financial point of view, it is a cheaper platform to get. It is a lot more accessible, and so that's really the only reason it's still in production, I think.
Yeah, and they are cheap.
Pokemon Go definitely stimulated interest, and then obviously Pokemon Sun and Moon happened, which just caused a huge surge. But speaking of Pokemon, there's also been
the elephant in the room.
Yes.
News.
The elephant in the room.
Under the bridge. My name is Troll News or News Troll.
I'm a mixture of excited and
you sound excited, Nick.
I don't sound it, but that's the apprehension coming through because the leaked titles were Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu. My apprehension comes not from the fact that we're gonna have the graphics are going to be better. It's going to be a proper mainline core RPG game on the Switch.
With those apprehension, I doubt it.
My apprehension comes from the fact that it's going to be linked to Pokemon Go in some way.
Oh yeah,
no. So say Pokemon Mystery Dungeon style.
So I have that. If it comes out that way, I would feel like it'd be a lot better than if it went the Pokemon Go route. Because do you remember the Pokemon Walker that came with Heart Gold and Soul Silver? Yeah. Now, if the Pokemon Go connection was something like that, where it doesn't have too much influence on gameplay and you can just find these cool extra stuff.
Wait, are we talking about like the Pikachu Gigapet thing? Or no, I think that was before that.
The little Pokeball
that came out with the actual gold and silver, I think.
Yeah, hard gold and soul silver. Yeah, it came on a little Pokeball, and then you can take it around with you.
I'm old.
No, but you are right too. The one you're talking about, Tyler.
There was a Gigapet like 2 generations or so before. Anyways, Nick, you were saying.
So yeah, they're talking about the rumors are that it's going to be linked to Pokemon Go in some way, and if it was a thing like the little Pokewalker or the Gigabit thing, where it was just like you can find cool extra stuff here and there, sure, great, go crazy with it. But if the main gameplay had to be linked to Pokemon Go in some way, I will be upset.
There's no way, and I shouldn't say that because I'm sure Nintendo would find a way. Damn them. There's no way this could be linked to Pokemon Go as a full title RPG game. The Switch does not have GPS capabilities, and it would have to be strictly tied to the Wi-Fi. What kind of way are they suggesting it could be somehow tied to Pokemon Go? Which, given the Nintendo property is there, as Game Freak owns Pokemon and Nintendo owns Game Freak, it's all entirely run by Niantic, which is a Google company. How is that going to work out?
So it's like the scenario would be something like this, right? So 3 people own the Pokemon franchise. Pokemon Company owns 1/3, Game Freak owns 1/3, Nintendo owns 1/3.
Okay.
Niantic is, contracted out to do work on the Pokemon game. So what would happen likely, because you said the capabilities of the Switch, it would likely just function like a Pokewalker, which was with Heart Gold Soul Silver, like Nick said, where you'd send a Pokemon from your main game to Pokemon Go, or a Pokemon from Pokemon Go to your main game.
Stadium style?
Yeah, sort of like that. And they'd stay on that cartridge. You could bring them back and that sort of thing. But I think that's the best case scenario. Worst case scenario, they take the complete wrong influence from Pokemon Go. And I have a lot of harsh words for Game Freak on this one. And I will hit those whenever you're ready for me to have them. So
yeah, I have nothing against Pokemon Go, but it's different. It's separate. It's like with all the other spin-offs, they've not really had much of a impact on the main core games. And while the popularity of Pokemon Go and how much it spread Pokemon around even more so, that's great. For it to have an effect on a main core game, I would not be happy.
I doubt it. I am almost, you made a wonderful prophecy that, if I remember correctly, got debunked almost immediately. However, we will not look at that. I'm going to say with almost 100% certain, this is my prophecy of my hand over my eye patch, the equivalent of my heart. It will not be tied in Pokemon Go in any way, shape, or form.
That's a hard call. I will say this is a very credible leak.
I am going to stay with certainty.
All right.
If I'm wrong, I will not eat a pen. I'll eat this lay if I still have it. If not,
at least you'll be able to digest it, I hope.
Yes, instead of that pen that I immediately forced myself to be in the position to have to eat.
Yeah, I have some words for this though. If you guys want me to run a little bit here with Game Freak.
Go ahead, take a minute. You lay down the law.
Yeah, so I'm very, very scared and I'm very worried about these leaks, because the one thing that we're overlooking here, I think, is that what the leaks said too was that this is a Kanto remake, a semi-remake of Yellow version that's going to be probably set in the future, featuring Red and Blue and that sort of thing. Follow Pokemon are back, yada yada. And I want to harken back to some of the earlier leaks for this mainline Pokemon Switch game, which was there was a picture of a Lapras on what looked like Route 21 using Sun and Moon graphics with an Eevee on the shoulder. And this Let's Go Eevee version came months after that. But that original image had yet to be officially disproven. So it's very likely that that's a real leak. And what that would mean is that what we're actually getting out of our first mainline Pokemon Switch game is potentially a 1-to-1 remake of Kanto with Sun and Moon graphics, which is, you know what, that's my feeling on the matter is, I'm actually quite the opposite. My feeling on the matter is that Game Freak is they have a problem. And I think they have a problem where, they'll be putting out things like Breath of the Wild. They'll be putting out things like Xenoblade Chronicles 2. They'll be putting out things like Odyssey, things of that visual fidelity. But Game Freak has decided, if this is true, to take the route of, and we're not going to really innovate. We're not going to use this opportunity. We're just going to have Kanto again.
I realized that Gary's first Pokemon was Eevee, or Blue, yes. I guess in this case. And obviously Red or Ash, it was Pikachu.
That's why the Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee,
which makes sense to the focus on Pokemon Yellow, which also followed that same style where you start off with Pikachu and Gary/Blue or whoever started off with Yellow. Or sorry, Yellow, Eevee.
Also, the latest Pokemon movie features an Eevee prominently, and it's not out yet. and there could be some stuff there as well. There's a lot of new Eevee merchandise coming out. Masuda over at Pokemon's been tweeting out Eevee stuff. There's a lot of stuff going on. Yeah, but I'm really disappointed if this turns out to be a 1-for-1 for Kanto. My opinion is, if you want to overhaul the graphics, right? If you want to overhaul the visuals, make a beautiful game that Switch is capable of, that's fine. Do Kanto again. But if you're just going to take Sun and Moon and not put any really effort into it and just 1-for-1 make Kanto again, and by that early leak we might have seen that it's the same lineup as Route 21, like changing almost nothing. That's extremely disappointing for a first mainline Pokemon game, and that's really them dropping the ball.
That's a $60 game right there.
No, and we'll see if it even is. Maybe they keep it at 40, but still, that's dropping the ball and a chance you could have had to innovate finally.
When's if they do that, but then just last minute curveball announces for the 3DS?
I would throw up. I think
I would probably. Yeah, I would probably.
I actually
get into a Green Hulk
before we get a Pokemon Battle Royale.
Yeah, I have the suspicion if this turns out to all
Pokemon fall down from the sky.
Yep. If this turns out to all be true, I actually have the suspicion that this game started development on the 3DS. If this turns out to be true, I have a suspicion that was first slated for the 3DS, and then they're just.
I saw that picture too. The resolution seemed very much like a 3DS picture.
Yeah, and you can look at the assets too, and I mean it's a blurry picture, but you can look at the assets and just say like, there's Sun and Moon right there. There's Gen 7, what it looks like. So
that's a lot to take in. I guess we'll see what happens here.
Yeah.
No Man's Sky multiplayer. Oh boy, yes.
Finally.
Years after it came out, No Man's Sky finally is getting the multiplayer it promised.
July 24th on the it's called the next update.
That's good. It should have been the first update, but I'll take the next update.
Yeah,
I mean the first update. It comes with full-fledged, like you can do basically everything that you can do as a solo player with your friends.
I mean that's exactly what they wanted.
Yeah, No Man's Sky was an interesting situation where there's very few games where they'll have this horrible initial reception, do poorly, be a complete, honestly, straight lying to the community about what was in the game to the point where they got sued about it. But they actually, they didn't drop it. They didn't run away with the tail between their legs. They stood firm and they updated the game and made it a good game in the end. So props to them for doing that, honestly.
You go ahead.
I was just going to say props to standing the line, honestly, rather than running away.
Honestly, I had no interest in playing this game in the very beginning. And then, within a week of it being announced that it was essentially a burning trash fire, I was like, wow, I'm glad I'm staying away from this. But then, I'm hearing little bits of redemption, if you will. Oh, they're doing this to fix this. Oh, here's this, add a little bit more content, something to do. And finally, this is probably like the jewel piece of, redemption here. They've given the one big thing that people, have wanted since day one, the idea of being able to traverse all of space and being able to see other people. Not marks left by them.
Despite the lies, there are people who have still been playing it, so they have a reason to actually put this out.
Yep.
So we might actually see a resurgence of No Man's Sky.
Yeah, I have it over here, so
I feel like Sony would have to step it up again, though. Do you think Sony would be willing to do something like that after the first time they tried backing it?
They spent 3 years pushing it at their PlayStation Experience conference in December. They spent like straight 3 years in a row pushing it. I think they're done talking about it. I don't think it'll have any sort of stage presence or anything like that, but it will be good for the people still there, 100%. And people will come back. People will come back for that.
All right, fair enough. See, somebody has down here for Ubisoft earning calls. Pardon me. Jeez, the Milwaukee's best, I swear. Who threw this one down?
I did. It seemed like Ubisoft in general had a pretty decent year. Financially and games-wise, a lot of their games ranked pretty high in comparison to other big developers that they listed down here. They have 3 new AAA titles out in the next fiscal year. The Crew 2, which I have not played the first one, so I can't say too much about that. Tom Clancy's The Division 2, which is expected to be out at the end of March next year, and another unannounced game from a franchise. The issue with The Division 2 coming out next year is that it seems like it'll be a indirect competition with Anthem, EA's Anthem. So it's going to be interesting to see how those two play out, or that plays out.
Yeah, that's definitely an interesting fight, I think, too, because Anthem's situation, honestly, is very much tied up in the Battlefront 2 controversy, where when we saw the loot box stuff happen, Anthem, which everybody saw coming from a mile away, but the second all that stuff went down, everybody looked towards Anthem and they were like, yeah, we're going to delay. It's not like we had all those systems in our game or anything, and we need to fix it. So Anthem had to retreat a little bit and fix themselves out, sort themselves out. So hopefully they'll not come in with some massive loot box games as a service nonsense.
Oh, no, they would never do anything like that. Never, sir.
Yeah, what?
Anthem's platform already has a bit of scrutiny. Whereas the Division started off not so great. Like it didn't have the worst start, it didn't have the greatest start, and then it got a little bit worse, and then it got steadily better. And it's gotten to a really good point now. And in general, I think the community is really happy with it. So we have a good community versus something with scrutiny or like some criticism behind it already before it's even out, and we've seen proper gameplay of it.
Yep.
So it's going to be if I had to bet, I'd bet on the Division 2 doing better initially. For sure, because there are a lot of people excited for that in a new setting. Mind you, I say initially. I don't know what's going to happen after that.
Yeah, I think, I'm definitely in Ubisoft's camp here. I think I agree. They had an amazing year, honestly. Last year's E3 from Ubisoft was really good. Honestly, it was on par with some of the console manufacturers, E3, as a spectacle. So Ubisoft's been doing a good job. They're in good boy territory, as far as I'm concerned, with what they've been putting out. Right. So I want to be on their side. I do think, though, I think that BioWare's name might carry a little further than the Division initially, but I don't want it to. I really think Division would deserve a second chance over what's going on over at EA and BioWare with that sort of thing. But I unfortunately think I'll see Anthem selling a little bit better at first, especially because Division 2 was one of those games, or Division was one of those games where, there's a big hullabaloo about it. It came out, and worse than extremely negative coverage, right? Worse than extremely negative coverage, almost. It kind of got a silence. Like, people talked about it in whispers. We heard about the queues lining up to get in the game itself and that sort of thing, but it kind of just disappeared. And you don't want to be the game that disappears.
No.
But because everybody knows BioWare, everyone knows EA, but Division, that's a name that could be much more transient. So I do hope that they do a good job, and I'm rooting for Ubisoft right now. I really am, especially because they actually just bought themselves back recently. They were going under hostile takeover.
Vivendi, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, Vivendi was the evil villain story of Vivendi trying to take over poor Ubisoft.
It was out of the frying pan and into the fryer, though, because they finally got Vivendi to sell off their shares, basically. But guess who bought up some of them? Tencent, which is the big.
Are you serious? Tencent?
Tencent now is 5% stake. But Tencent went and grabbed that up like they do everything else. So Tencent, the looming Chinese company giant, is coming, and now they have a stake in Ubisoft. So,
oh man, oh boy.
Well, it used to be the case, honestly. It used to be the case that Ubisoft was spoken a lot like people talk about EA. They were in the sort of like, oh, we don't want to deal with your sign-in games as a service stuff, and it was really dragging. They were honestly, for a time, right around I think 2011 or so, they were on par in terms of hate. But Ubisoft really came back, and EA just got worse.
Yeah, especially with what they do with buying up smaller studios that put out fantastic games and just killing those studios. Rest in peace, Titanfall.
Rest in peace, everything.
Everything.
Yeah. Respawn,
I'm
Pandemic, BioWare.
Because I love Titanfall too.
Man, just the story behind Respawn, like the whole fallout between them, and not fallout, but Battlefield. Not Battlefield. Was it Battlefield or Call of Duty? Call of Duty, wasn't it? For basically, Respawn, if I remember correctly, was originally a part of the Infinity Ward.
I think I do forget. That sounds right.
After Modern Warfare, came a thing. Eventually, the top dogs of what is now Respawn, they just couldn't deal with the way that they were being treated over at Activision, and Activision just said, bye, see ya. They left, and they're like, oh, we're gonna pull headhunt some people and make our own thing. And so they went to EA and said, hey, can we be a partner? EA was like, yeah, sure. They took their supplies and their mindsets, and they created Titanfall.
Yep, which is great, and I love it too. But you sign that contract with EA, and it's already over. Honestly.
Yeah, no kidding.
Then you're in trouble.
Moving along, it could be a very small or big article depending on how you view it. a Walmart from Canada accidentally posted quite a few of game releases that were supposed to be talked about more specifically on E3. Did you want to talk about this, or you just want to just let it be?
I don't want to spoil anything because this leak is likely 100% credible. Unfortunately, I think E3 has been spoiled a bit because there is a certain game on here that, and you know what, this isn't spoilers because it was officially announced, but they called Rage 2 on this leak, and nobody asked for Rage 2. That's really out of left field.
Nobody.
But lo and behold, Rage 2 is announced not 5 days later. So it's likely that this entire list is real, or at least most of it. And so I kind of want to stay away from it just in case, spoiler wise, people want to stay away from the E3 leaks. But
if people survive this and they don't want to listen to the games that came out, honestly, a lot of them not that surprising. Like,
yeah, a lot of not surprises.
I will say one thing though. You'll find this out about Canadians. We are very passive aggressive. So
oh, hi Nick, I forgot. On this list, I just want to, I'm going to say one game that's going to come out this year.
Nick.
It looks like Madden 2019 is going to be coming out sometime this year. So I know. Just confirm. You heard it here first.
It's a long shot, but NBA 2K19, long shot.
Yes, it's actually on the list alongside FIFA 19.
Oh my god.
I know, FIFA 19 EA is just eating it hard. They've been hiding these secrets for so long.
These gems.
Oh man, no wonder why they're going in the dumps. That's why we're going to support people like Ubisoft. You don't see Ubisoft on here. I shouldn't say that actually because there's a Ubisoft game on this list.
Damn it, Tyler!
I know. I know. Ah, jeez. Shame on me. Shame on me.
You know what? I will say this. This list is not everything that's going to be announced at EA. We're missing a lot of big secrets that we're pretty sure are happening. So it's not going to be this bad, but it is still a leak. That's probably real.
I'm very excited for one game in particular on this list. So yeah.
Yep. But yeah, keep your eyes out for Walmart Canada and stay away from that because they got you.
There's quite a few games that came out this week. The one I remember in particular was this Friday, or I guess last Friday, since you guys are hearing this on Monday. Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition. I know we technically talked about it last week, but it came out this Friday. So Switch owners rejoice, I guess, unless you have a Wii U game version of that, like me.
Then don't rejoice.
Yeah, don't rejoice because you're not going to waste $60 to buy the same thing plus an extra 4 skins. Screw you.
Yep. No, we're getting down to the point where I think there's only 3 big Wii U exclusive left that aren't ported.
Yeah,
I think I'm waiting 3 or 4. So
I'm waiting for the Skyward Sword Twilight Princess Wind Waker trilogy HD remake to come out for the Switch.
Then you just need Xenoblade Chronicles X, Tokyo Mirage Session, and Wonderful 101, and I think you have almost everything. So yeah. And then that's pretty much everything.
Have some sort of like online thing where you could go through a catalog of games and maybe either pay for the games or have a subscription-based system where you could download and play those games as much as you want.
Well, boy, if those are Nintendo games, then I got news for you, my good friend. I guess looks like I got 3 big games that got listed by my fellow compatriots over here. Wizard of Legend. What is that game?
That was me. It was it's a very much top-down roguelike game. Just really fun, really simple. It's a shooter slasher kind of game. Just full of action. You're a wizard. You go through dungeons. You can do all sorts of spells. It's a local couch co-op for the consoles. It's just really fun, simple.
I don't see many of those these days. Happy to have it.
Legendary. May 25th, I mentioned it before, Detroit Become Human.
Finally.
It's coming out, within, this week. You're hearing it. I'm assuming this Friday, the Friday upcoming, Detroit Become Human. It's a big chance. It's worth the risk, I think. And plus, actually, I have that next Monday off, so I'll get a chance to fully play it. Woo! Unless, of course, I'm completely held up by Persona 5, Personal. I'm making this personal. People, oh my god!
I won't complain if you're held up by that. Honestly,
I probably will. I honestly, I'm gonna sink some good time on it. I kind of wish it was on the Switch, though. Play it on the go, but who cares?
I'd also wouldn't say that's out of the realm of possibility. Honestly.
Oh, don't say that. I'm already ticked off. I paid $50 for Persona 5 today, right now, Saturday, May 19th.
Really?
It's right now it's $25. It's half off over at GameStop.
Oh, okay. All right.
So, I don't know if that sale's going to continue, but
hashtag rip.
I had a friend pick it up for $30 on Christmas, like right around Black Friday sales. So it's definitely like a sale price sort of situation, but
it's the curse of being punished. I lost an eye and all that, and sale prices. State of Decay 2 is coming out for Xbox PC.
Yes,
May 22nd. I'm not going to be touching that game. There's a lot of games that are on my list of even looking at. That game is not never really crossed my realm yet, so I haven't heard enough people talk about it. So
yeah, honestly, a few streamers got early access, and so far the reactions have been positive. I haven't heard anything.
That was a really dramatic pause right there. It's mostly been
no raving reviews, nothing really exciting on my Twitter feed. It's just been a fun game. That's it.
Yeah, I think, I was actually talking to my buddy Josh about this, who played the original State of Decay, and we were more talking about it and the sequel and that sort of thing. And zombie fatigue is a real thing. A lot of us got tired of the zombie genre and stopped playing those games, but State of Decay at least offers.
I'm also just terrified of it. It's just scary.
Yeah, scary too. But State of Decay offers a lot more management in terms of not social links necessarily, but you often have to manage fights between your different survivors and that sort of thing when you're building your encampment. Some people might get angry over some situations and start arguments and start fights. So there's a lot of management in terms of managing your base, managing your town, managing your people, as well as the zombie survival game aspect. So that's at least a nice innovation, I think, on the genre. Try and get that in there a little bit. So, happy for State of Decay 2. Happy that they actually decided to make a sequel for that, and that's all going and good. Actually, I think that the company that makes them were so set on this vision, so set on making this game, that the name of the company, I think, is called something Undead, like Turn Undead or something like that. Because they were just
a great paladin spell.
They were just set on it. They were like, we're making a zombie game. Our company name is Undead, whatever. So yeah, Microsoft got a game out. Little claps for them.
Yeah, good job, Microsoft. Good job. You did good. Sea of Thieves, but
they need encouragement. Okay. They need encouragement just to put out a game.
I mean, they're so used to buying their companies or otherwise having everything else on it that they're not used to doing making their own. It's like, this is weird. This is new territory for them again.
Mm-hmm. The funny thing too about Microsoft is, I joke about this a lot, but Microsoft's kind of a sleeping giant, because they only got in, honestly, and this was a game history thing, but they only got in the console space to compete against Sony because Sony's PlayStation was becoming a household name. Their whole purpose for getting in was we don't want Sony to be bigger than Microsoft. That's ridiculous.
No, certainly not.
We're Windows. You don't know. This is us. This is America, right? So they made a console, and they've been keeping that ever since, just to kind of do its own thing. It doesn't turn a profit.
It's like a joke that's gotten too far, and they just have to keep it going. And there's only 2 series keeping it alive right now. One of them that's gotten a game recently. The other one, we have heard no news about.
Yep. And the thing though is that they're kind of a sleeping giant in that if they felt like it, Microsoft could win. Microsoft could win the console wars if they were just like, hey, look at our Microsoft money compared to your Sony money and your Nintendo money, and laugh, because they could just buy everything pretty much.
Oh yeah, I mean, the Microsoft, especially their Xbox One department or their video game section, it's minute compared to their computer section. If they decided to say, hey, we're gonna put a little bit more money over here, I'll say, bam, triple funds. We could do all sorts of crazy crap.
If they felt like it, they could buy every Western developer. I feel
like if they did that though, it would show that they're taking things a little bit more serious, and I feel like they're in a happy, comfy position. Honestly, if they had their way, this is just me paraphrasing what I see through them, if they could make a giant holographic middle finger and aim it at Sony, and that somehow stemmed the flow of the money that Sony could make, Microsoft would be doing that instead. The Xbox 360 would not exist back in the day. But you know what? They couldn't make holographics back then, so the 360 and the Xbox One is just simply going to have to do. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and it's crazy too, because the whole brand. So if you take the Xbox brand as a whole across all the consoles, it was profitable for 1 month once. And other than that, it's just been in the hole red ever since. So they're perfectly content sitting there losing money, being like, Sony though.
They could have been making millions. Suckers. Killing it.
They just want to get Microsoft culture, Microsoft name in households, and that's what matters much more than the actual sales. So
heck, the only thing I really know that Microsoft wants to get to everybody is their favorite color is blue. And blue screen. I guess wrapping up, is there anything else you guys want to go before we go into the final stretch?
I'm pretty much all set on my end.
Nick, I know you want to make that announcement one last time. Go right ahead, buddy.
Yeah. So if you want to help cure childhood cancer, kid cancer, go to guardiancon.co. there's a support button top right of the page, and it'll take you to the Tiltify page where you can donate or subscribe, sign up to be a monthly donator for St. Jude. If you don't, you're a jerk.
Yeah, you heard it here, folks.
Okay. I guess I'm gonna hopefully, if I make money from this casino trip, I will very, very strongly consider that as maybe my Falcom fund's gonna go to that instead. How's that feel, Cam? Knowing my Falcom money game.
Falcom, sick kids.
I know, right?
Hard choice.
I need some time with that one, I think.
I was like, why not both? It would be the greatest answer.
Yeah.
And okay. Anyways, there's so many ways I could go with that, but it would turn south very quickly. Team us. You can email us at casualmasterquest@gmail.com because apparently Hotmail is just too old, because I love Hotmail. Apparently it's just too old. Whatever.
I still religiously use one of my Hotmail accounts.
Good. Like my main, because people are like, hey, I need your email, and I'll say it, and at hotmail.com, and they look at me like, really? I'm like, yeah, I know. My AOL one got locked up. Get over it.
I actually get that for AOL still these days.
Really? Well, casualmasterquest@gmail.com. You can ask us any question or comment or concern. We will potentially, as long as it's not, horrifyingly offensive, it can be borderline offensive, we will probably respond to it. Or you can hit us up on Twitter, and we are at MasterQuestPod. I don't like using the word pod for podcast, but you know what? There was letter spaces. Yeah. We decided to do a 3-letter, podcast name, whatever. All podcasts and gaming that we will be doing together, if we do it, will be found on our YouTube channel, which we'll link because we don't have a cool custom mural yet. We don't have the 100 subscribers. Don't worry. One day. In fact, if you're watching this right now, since it doesn't do anything for you besides link us more of our good stuff to you, just hit that subscribe button. Do it.
Yeah, smash that button. Smash that button.
Smash the fun in the base like a boss. I just some angry version of Jacksepticeye. I can be found on Twitter at 2xTyler, all one word, all letters. Nick, where can we find you, buddy?
You can find me on Twitter at LRWarrior11.
Yeah.
I'm also at Mixer whenever I do finally get a chance to stream at mixer.com/LRWarrior11.
Nice. And Cam, what are you looking like over there, bud?
All right, you can find me at Cam Collects on Twitter, one word, because that's how Twitter works. I stream on Twitch, also Cam Collects, and it's Saturday mornings at 9 and Monday evenings at 7 p.m. That's in Eastern Standard Time. And you can also check out another podcast I'm on over at intothevideogame.libsyn.com.
And very specifically, you said potentially this Saturday you're going to be playing the Pokemon Heart Gold randomizer.
So that's actually, Saturday is when I do the play for the first time thing. So Monday night is going to be probably a Pokemon randomizer, and that's going to be very interactive. So if you guys want to, come on, we can name Pokemon after you. You can help me make decisions, and we're going to speed it up a little bit so the game doesn't take 22 hours. But we're going to do a Pokemon randomizer.
Now, when you say Monday, are we talking about the 21st, as in technically people that are hearing it today?
You're right. I think it would be, in fact.
Okay, just making sure. I don't want to, goof up here.
So tonight at 7 p.m. Yeah.
Yeah, if you're listening to this through the podcast feeds tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern, since he's the coolest Rhode Islander on this podcast currently, unless the Challenger would appear.
There's like 5 Rhode Islanders, so it's not that
Look, we clarified there was at least a million of you suckers, so I don't want to hear this crap.
There's like 3 houses. I mean...
Well, okay, whatever. If you want to check out our Discord, go ahead and check out our Twitter. Like I said, at MasterQuestPod. We have a link for it. You can go bug us, and we'll probably bug you even further back until you leave. Don't worry, we're friendly. A little too friendly, actually. There's beer. Beer and bad decisions go hand in hand. Sometimes you get alcohol and you get a scratch-off ticket, and they're like, "Hey, let's sell you $1 scratch-off tickets. Take 500." It's like, okay, sure. I don't know where I'm going with this. Anyways. Thank you very much. I'm Tyler. He's Cam. He's Nick. And this is actually the final section. This is it for episode 2. I'm not the end of the whole podcast.
I would hope not.
That was Casual Master Quest, guys. Oh boy.
All right.
I guess let's wrap it up.
Yep.
You guys have yourselves a great day, and don't forget to never stop the grind.
Peace.
Love you.
Love you too.